Hey, what's up, losers? Just kidding, kind of. I debated it for a little bit when I woke up if I wanted to make another car talk video, and I'm doing it. We're doing it. Okay, so let's just get right into the topics that I have written down here. So I wrote, I think the reason so many people are, let's roll these up. I think the reason so many people are doing content is because it provides a creative outlet that not much else that not much else in society can. In society, that's the key word there, the key words. The whole go to school for 12 years, compete, get a job, study more, etc. has led to a mass burnout, in my opinion. And I think like content creation is a really good way to really kind of like let out sort of that creative outlet if you have time. And then even as you go on, improve upon it. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. I've been off and on really with it for a long time, and that's not really a good thing. Like I said before, my last video that I uploaded, I think, is that I'm trying to be more consistent. So here we are. But yeah, it's a good creative outlet to create videos and watch yourself talk and reflect on it. Yeah, along with the mass burnout, all of the exploitative systems, and I've mentioned this in previous videos as well, insurance, credit cards, fines, tolls, etc. So much of our tax money and insurance money has either been given to other countries or directly pocketed. Has been directly pocketed. Yeah, there we go. You can only exploit this for so long before the pockets are empty. I mean, that's just how it is. I've also mentioned and said, and I keep saying it, and I'm not going to stop saying it. Since I turned 18, I'm 34 now. I have paid over $100,000 into car insurance, somewhere around $110,000 into car insurance. I have only ever used $7,000 of that. That's $103,000 that insurance companies have of my money that I could have used for land, for homes, for whatever. And so they're exploiting people, and it makes me very, very angry, especially now that I have a lot less than I used to. I think that people are, I'm starting to really change my views, and I think people actually really are selfish once they get to a certain status. They stop caring about like lower class and lower, I don't know what it is. I really don't. I just know that the system that we're living in is very exploitative. And yeah, anyway, I digress on that. Let's move on to the next topic. I think the reason some jurisdictions of law enforcement ignore expired tags and stuff is because they are smart enough to realize that the large corporations and insurance companies and everything have already exploited people to the point where they're depleted. This is a hit or a miss. Find a city that has leniency until that problem is fixed. Which pretty much means like, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but if you can find a big city, doesn't matter where in the country, that there's a lot more people to tend to, and law enforcement just can't keep up with everybody. You're more liable to get away with certain things, lapses in insurance and registration and blah blah blah. A yearly registration is a steal as well. It shouldn't even exist. Once you register your car, that should be it. Unless you change titles, get a different car or whatever else. Yeah, big cities are good for that reason. There's too many people to kind of look over and watch over and stuff, and so you have more leniency. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying it's necessary. Because life is not perfect. It's not black and white. There's a lot of gray areas. There's a lot of nuance in life. And so like when somebody falls behind, or, the systems that we're living in exploit people to the point where they don't have anything left, what are people to do? Just keep taking fines up the rear end and, going to court and this and that. Like, they can never make progress. So there are ways around that. Big cities, I believe, is one of those ways. Let's see here. I mean, it is what it is. Exploit enough people, they have to do what they have to do to get by. This is the little metaphor and analogy story that I kind of realized and picked up on the other day. Chewing on a toothpick indicates that I'm nervous sometimes. or it is quelling my nervous spirit whenever I chew on a toothpick. Some days I enjoy the toothpick. Other days, if I choose the toothpick when I'm calm, it actually has the opposite effect. It makes me more nervous. Sometimes the meaning of life is knowing when to use or do something and when not to. Something as simple as a toothpick can make a major difference in how you behave and how you act and how you feel and think on a day-to-day basis. So be very selective in what you do and why you're doing it, and question that behavior. It leads to better outcomes, and it leads to a better you. Let's see here. Video production creation gives me purpose and meaning. So I kind of like already said this in one of my topics earlier on in this video, like 5 minutes ago. But for me personally, video production creation gives me purpose and meaning. It also gives me a sense of control in a world that is very highly regulated. Which there's a lot, I have a lot of like interests and things that I'd like to pursue, but that I can't do because you need licenses, taxes, insurance, blah 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 blah. And then by the time that you're like able to like flip a profit, you get to pocket like a nickel, and it just isn't worth it. And so there's a way around that also, but you have to have a handful of really good people that are committed and dedicated to making money, and that are interested in what you're interested in, and the horse and pony show goes on and on and on. It's crazy. This world's crazy, but yeah, I like making videos because I get to reflect on them, and I get to watch them, and they give me insight into my behavior and what I need to improve on, and I think that can apply to other people as well. When I get a thought that is negative and I don't intentionally pay attention to that thought and instantly rewrite it with a better one, that thought can spiral into hours of feeling low and depressed. Be the goalie of your thoughts. This is easier to do when you're healthy. And so if you're out here just like sporadically going to like fast food restaurants and eating crappy food, what that does to your nervous system and your impulse control in your brain and your neurons and stuff like that is it creates uninhibited firing. When you eat how you're supposed to, it's kind of like electricity. The information, the impulses that go through your nervous system, peripheral and central nervous system, it just flows straight through. It doesn't have any inhibitors. So you have to think about your body in like a biological sense. And this all goes back to being a goalie of your thoughts. Yeah, just pay attention to how you feel and how you think on a day-to-day basis. And if you want to change that, there are absolutely ways to do so. Got a few more here. Golly, I wrote down a lot. I might put some of these on the next video. Sorry I'm talking so fast. I'm actually really giddy today. I worked out yesterday, had some coffee this morning, feeling good. Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna do one more, and then I will add some of these on to the next reel. So this last one, I'll try to take my time on it and speak a little bit more methodically and slowly and calmly, but this is a problem that I've had throughout my entire life. It's like a self-destructive behavior, and what I wrote down here is you have to outsource your addictions in order to overcome them. If there isn't another activity to replace your addiction that brings you fulfillment, that satisfies you in ways that addiction does, you will always revert back to old ways every single time. This is really hard to do when you're so entangled in other people's lives and what other people want you to do, and it's also like the issue with people joining in on what you're doing, whether you own a company, a business, whatever it is, a community, a church. You have to really align with somebody else's principles and values if you value those things yourself, or it's going to cause friction. And I think a lot of people don't really realize this or understand this, and I didn't either until I really grew up. And when you don't surround yourself with people that share your values and your interests and your principles, it actually it actually seems to flip a self-destructive switch inside of you, because deep down, you're doing something that you don't want to do that's benefiting somebody else, and you're getting very little out of it. This leads to addictions. And so we have to be really careful about what we do in life and how we move if we don't want to sabotage our own progress. And this is why it's so important to have independent thinking and independent thoughts, and not just collective thinking and collective thoughts. Because collective thoughts and stuff, that all stems from independent thinking. It's a hierarchy, it's a pyramid. And a lot of people don't realize this. The system that we're set up in, it just like throws you into collective thinking and feeling and doing. And there is no time to understand independent thoughts and actions and feelings. And this will compile, it will snowball, and it will create addictions within you. So have something that brings you just as much fulfillment as that addiction that you have, that you can replace it with slowly and over time. Cold turkey is kind of hard to do. Give yourself grace, and just, I like to say, outwork bad habits. But it's not just outworking bad habits. It's actually outworking bad habits and replacing those bad habits with something else that you enjoy. That's very key and crucial to addiction and overcoming that. But if you stayed through the whole 11-12 minutes of this video, I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and get my day started. And my videos are kind of boring because I'm not sitting out by a stream or a forest or a mountain or something, which I'd like to get into and start doing before long. And maybe I can do that. But as of right now, it's more convenient for me to do these in my car, kind of make them like car talk things, and just discuss day-to-day things that I deal with and think about. And thanks for dropping in. If you got something out of my videos, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. It will help me out in the future if God wants me to succeed in this endeavor in any sort of way. So anyway, that's all for today. Everybody be safe and have a good day. Over and out.